Hello, 7th grade. This is Miss White, and today we're doing lesson 14, computing actual lengths from a scale drawing. Example 1. The distance around the entire small boat is 28.4 units. The larger figure is a scale drawing of the smaller drawing of the boat. State the scale factor as a percent and then use the scale factor to find the distance around the scale drawing. Now, from our scenario, we need to figure out what is our original drawing, because our original drawing is going to represent our whole. Here it says the larger figure is going to be the scale drawing. So we're going to have our scale, and our scale drawing is always going to equal our quantity. And then again, our whole, our original, is always going to equal our whole. Now, we need to remember, in order to find the scale factor, it's going to be our scale length over our corresponding original length. Now, when we talk about corresponding, what that means is we're going to look at the same position, but on a different shape. Now, we need to determine what line or what position from both of these drawings is the best one to use for our corresponding length. I think the best ones to use are at the top of the actual boat here. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to count how many lines take up both of these. So go ahead, take some time to count them. All right, so for our red here, we're going to have 22 units for our scale drawing, and we're going to have 8 units here for our original drawing. So we're going to take the scale length, which we know is going to be 22, over the corresponding original length, which is going to be 8. Now go ahead and take 22 divided by 8 into your calculator. Okay, and you would have got 2.75. Now, we need to write that as a percent. So the percent of the scale factor is going to be 275%. Okay, and we got that because we moved the decimal over to the right twice. Okay, let's do another one. Let's find another corresponding length. Another corresponding length we could use is these ones right here. All right, so go ahead and take your time to count how many units are there. Okay, so for my original, we would have got 4 units. And for our scale drawing, we would have got 11 units. So now we're going to have 11 over 4. Go ahead and with your calculator again and calculate 11 divided by 4. Okay, and we would have got 2.75 again, which is perfect. That's what we want. And then we're going to equal it to as a percent, and again, it's going to give us 275%. Now we know that the scale factor from the small boat to the large boat is 275%. Now, another way to solve for this is by using our favorite formula, quantity equals percent times whole. Now, we know that we want to find the percent for the scale factor, and we already had labeled what our quantity is and what our whole is. So looking here, we can choose one of the corresponding lengths. Let's choose the red one again. Okay, so for our original, we're going to have 8, and for our quantity, we have 22. So we're going to have 22 equals our percent, and we're going to leave P as the variable for percent, times our whole, which is 8. Then we need to get P by itself, so we can divide both sides by 8. 8 divided by 8 is going to leave us with 1P, and 22 divided by 8 is going to give us 2.75. And we know to turn that into a percent, it's going to be 275%. Now we need to find the total distance around the boat. We don't know what the total distance around the large boat is, but we do know the entire distance around the small boat. And the small boat is going to be 28.4 units. Now again, we're going to want to use our favorite formula, and that's going to be quantity equals percent times whole. Now, the distance of the large boat is going to be our quantity. And that is going to equal to our scale factor, which is what we want to find in a percent, times the distance of the small boat. And I'm just going to have small boat. Now our question wants us to find the distance around the scale drawing, which is the distance of the large boat. And we know what our scale factor is, and we know the distance around the small boat. Our scale factor is going to be 275%, but we need to write that in decimal form, and that's going to be 2.75 times the distance around the small boat, which is 28.4. Go ahead and calculate that with your calculator. Okay. And the answer you should have got is 78.1 units. So now we know the distance around the larger boat is 78.1 units. All right, we're going to move on to example 3. Race car number 2 is a scale drawing of race car number 1. The measurement from the front of the race car number 1 to the back of the race car number 1 is 12 feet, while the measurement from the front of the race car number 2 to the back of race car number 2 is 39 feet. If the height of the race car is 4 feet for race car number 1, find the scale factor and write an equation to find the height of race car number 2. Explain what each part of the equation represents in the situation. What we need to do is we need to label which one is our original drawing and then which one is our scale drawing. So looking here, the race car on the left is going to be our original, which is also going to be our whole. And then the race car on the right is going to be our scale, which is also going to be known as our quantity. Okay, so when we want to find scale factor is going to be as a percent. So when we use our formula, quantity equals percent times whole, we're going to want to find the percent. So looking here, let's look at our race car. We have 12 feet for the original and 39 feet for the quantity. So we're going to set this up as 39 equals P per percent times our whole, which is 12 feet. Now to get P by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 12. We know that 12 divided by 12 is going to give us 1, so we're left with P. And go ahead in your calculator, calculate 39 divided by 12. Okay, great. So you should have got 3.25. Now we need to write that as a percent, and we're going to move the decimal over to the right 2 times. And so that's going to give us 325%. So the scale factor is equal 325%. Okay, now we need to find the height of the race car. So looking here, we know that the height of the original is 4 feet, but we don't know the height of the scale. To figure that out, we're going to use our favorite formula again. Quantity equals percent times whole. And what we want to find out is our quantity for this height, because we don't know what it is here, and we know that our scale race car is the quantity. So our percent is going to be 325% from our scale factor, but we need to turn that into decimal form. So what we're going to do is move the decimal 2 places to the left, and we're going to get 3.25. So now we have 3.25 times our whole from our original, which is 4. Go ahead and calculate this in your calculator. All right, so we would have got 13. And so now we know the height of the race car, of the scale race car, is going to be 13 feet. All right, and that concludes our lesson for today. See you in class.